I didn't know I was going to be first. Let me get my notes in. Okay.
All right, go for it. You dressed for us today, didn't you?
This is for a little later. Okay, is this on there? All right, this frog walks into a bank. Says, I want to borrow $50,000. The teller, the little name tag says, Miss Patricia Whack. He says, Miss Whack, I need $50,000. She said, that's a lot of money for a frog. He says, would it help if I tell you I know the president of the bank personally, and my father is Mick Jagger? She said, that's all well and good, but you'll still have to have some collateral. He reaches in his pocket and pulls out this little porcelain, finely made elephant. He says, this should do. She snatches it out of his hands, goes to the president of the bank and said, there's a frog out there, wants to borrow $50,000. He says he knows you personally, and his father is Mick Jagger. I asked him for collateral, and he hands me this. What is this? The president of the bank said, it's a knick-knack, paddywhack, give your father a loan, this old man's a rolling stone. My grandpa had a lot of sayings. I remember. One thing he said, you know, it's good that everybody doesn't like the same thing. If they did, they'd all be running after your grandma. He told me, he said, some people say one good turn deserves another. He said, one good turn gets most of the blanket. He said the best things about being senile was you can hide your own Easter eggs. I took Grandpa and Grandma to the city. They live way out in the sticks. They live so far back that even the Episcopalians handle snakes. Have to think about that just a minute. I took him to the city, and I took him to the mall. We walked into this big department store. Grandma took off in one direction. He went with me, and we came upon an elevator. He had never seen an elevator. We looked at it. Bells started ringing, lights flashing, the doors open. This 95-year-old lady on a walker walks in. The doors closed. In about 30 seconds, bells ring, lights flash, the doors open. This 23-year-old girl in a mini skirt and high heel shoes comes out. He says, son, go get your grandma. Eventually, we had to put Grandpa in a nursing home. I went to see him. I walked in and I said, do you know who I am? He says, no, but if you go down to the front desk, they'll tell you. I went with him when they were testing him and two other men just for their mental capabilities, and we sat there and the psychologist said to the first one, what's 3 times 3? He said 156. He turns to the second one and said, what's 3 times 3? He said, Tuesday. He turned to Grandpa and said, what's 3 times 3? He said, 9. Psychologist said, that's great. How'd you get that? He said, I subtracted Tuesday from 156. When our son was young, he came in one day, and Moselle said, what are you doing? He said, I'm going to play church with the cat. She said, well, that's great. In just a little while, she heard the cat make a big squalling sound. He came through the house, wet as it could be. Went under the bed. She said, what on earth are you doing? He said, I just baptized the cat. She says, don't you know cats don't like water? He said he should have told me before he joined the church. Speaking of baptisms, when we go to different places, attend different churches, I always look at the bulletins very carefully to see the announcements and things. One of the ones that I saw recently was a big church. The announcement read, next Sunday, there will be baptism services at the north and south ends of the church. Children will be baptized on both ends. Another one announced the sermon next week is What is Hell? Another it said, come early and listen to our choir practice. And another one in the announcements, it said, Weight Watchers will meet Tuesday at 7:30. Please enter through the rear entrance double doors. You know, Marie Osmond, you've been seeing Marie Osmond Weight Watchers? I hate to say this, she got fired recently. She failed her drug test. They discovered traces of Hidden Valley Ranch dressing and Krispy Kreme donuts. Took my dog to the vet not long ago, and there was a sign. It said, dogs and cats neutered or spayed, Saturday only, $30. Senior citizens, half price. I'll leave with this. Things to ponder. The Lord's Prayer has 69 words. The Ten Commandments has 78 words in it. The Gettysburg Address has 247 words. The Department of Agriculture's bulletin giving regulations for the pricing of cabbage has 15,649 words. I was in the airport recently. I saw 3 Hare Krishnas being chased by an Amway representative. And finally, while I was in the airplane, this is just things to ponder. I was sitting in the exit row, and there was a sign there that said, if you cannot read this sign, this message, or cannot fulfill the duties for helping passengers exit in case of emergency, please tell a flight attendant. If you can't read this message, I said, well, how would they know to tell the flight attendant? I go to Honduras every now and then. Once a year. When I came back this past year, I was feeling bad, and I went to the doctor, and he said, "Well, I need to put you in the hospital." I missed, I think, the last meeting here. I was in the hospital. I didn't tell anybody. So I put me in the hospital. Next day, I woke up in an isolation room. And there was a little sign attached to me. It said, when you wake up, call this number. I called it was the doctor. I said, what's this all about? He said, you have been diagnosed with SAPS. I said, SAPS? He said, that is the SARS, anemia, Alzheimer's, pneumonia, and polio syndrome. I put you on a diet of pancakes, tortillas, pizza, and waffles. And I said, why? He said, it's the only thing we can slide under the door. Thank you very much.